So in a sense, and to begin the conversation, is if you would like to share with us, why did you write The President's Dream?
The real story behind the book. I was at Berkshire Community College, which was my first presidency, and I had a phone call from Jim Anker, who was the principal of Anker Publishing Company. And I don't to this day know how he got my name, but he called and said, I have this manuscript of a book written by a college president. Would you please read it and review it and let me know what you think? So I said, sure. So he sent me this book, which was it was just horrible. It was a disaster. Not grammatically, not anything. It's just the tone that came across and the personality of the author and the things that were being said. I was just appalled. So when he called me later and asked me what I thought, I told him that I didn't think he should publish this book, but if he was going to, it would have a very small audience. So he said, well then, would you like to write one? I hadn't thought about it until then. I'd always wanted to write a novel. You know, every English major wants to write the great American novel, and that was where my head was, fiction and poetry. And I'd never thought of writing this kind of book until he asked me if I would do it, and I thought about it a while, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. So that's where it really came from. It wouldn't have occurred to me otherwise, in some respects. So I tried to write what this other guy hadn't, and to present information that I thought would be useful, and talking about, I think I do say in there somewhere that at that point in time there were still very few books who talked about what this job feels like. And we can talk about what you do and how you spend your time and what the day is like, but what's going on inside is not something that any author that I'd read thus far had touched. And if I might add, they were all men writing books at that time, and I think this was one of the first written by a woman president, a book of this length. So I wanted it to be different in that respect, even though I also knew that it would have a relatively small audience. I thought there might be something in there that would be useful to somebody someday. So that's what I did. And here we are. And here we are. Oh my goodness. A lot of time has passed since this. I will say, however, I was rereading it last night. I haven't looked at it for a long time, so I thought, ooh,
That's why I kind of led into a few with a little where I got it.
Yeah, I thought I better look at this again. So I was reading again last night and this morning, and on the one hand, yes, I remember writing the book, and I remember the research, and I remember the whole process. But on the other hand, I'm pretty detached from it, so it's as though I'm reading somebody else's words. You know what that's like?
Yes.
As a writer, Marlene knows what that's like.
Yes, I do.
I've always been that way. Yeah. I said that.
I was pretty hard on target.
Yeah. Well, even though the book is now, 15 years old, I found it surprisingly still relevant.
Exactly.
It really did shock me, because I have thought about and have talked with a couple people about doing an update or a revision. It's not in print anymore. About doing some kind of revision, and then I was reading it and I thought, this isn't bad. There are some things that aren't in there, but this is not that far out of date. So
Actually,
that